Good morning, campers. Welcome back to Camp Chat, where, as always, the topic is whatever you might chat about around the campfire. We're at the end of a fun day. We are together, and we're just going to chat. And my guest today is Ray, who's my very good friend from Seattle. And Ray, if you want to give a brief introduction and then maybe describe, I'm always interested to hear how people describe how we met from their perspective. So maybe if you could do an intro and then how we met, and then we'll just see what comes up.
Yeah. Hey all. I'm Ray Allen. I met Latham. It was kind of a head-on collision, not in cars, but just kind of in life. I was a piano player with the Pacific Northwest Ballet. And I was kind of feeling not inspired. There's this moment. I I wanted to be an artist. It was like this big dream of mine, and I kind of fulfilled that. And then after you fulfill it, then art becomes work, just like any other work. And so after I realized that, I was like, maybe if I'm working, I should start making money. And so I went back to school and went into the same program that Latham went into. And we had a couple of other people that had joined, and we called ourselves the best group ever, the BGE, and we were very proud of that. And we were very
I don't remember
successful
that
in
at all.
school. Yeah, and that's how I met Latham. It was, again, Latham wanted to, go into computer science, I guess, because he's a huge nerd, and I wanted to go into computer science because I'm a huge nerd. And that's how we met. Nerd crash.
Being a huge nerd is definitely a competitive advantage
Mhm.
in our field.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. You need to be able to speak. You need to be able to speak to like managers, and you need to be able to speak to. There are certain people. It's complicated. There are a lot of different kind of personas that you have to interact with.
Ray, my memory of Ray in school, 2013, right? That's when we went through. I think it was fall 2013,
Mm,
all through 2014. Then we were out into the workforce
yeah.
and worked at the same place straight out of school. And during school, because we did like this crash course computer science of, oh my, you gotta be kidding me. Hold on. Oh my gosh, dude. That's
All right.
nice. I wish it would do that for me as the
Yeah.
host. And we're back. Okay,
And we're back.
my memory of Ray is he was a source of joy and
Aw.
morale time when I was trying to reorient my entire career at the age of 35. I was trying to pivot my
Mhm.
entire career, starting all over again. I started as an intern at the age 35-year-old intern. It's like that movie, The
Mm.
Intern.
Yeah.
And you're just so joyous, Ray, and academics, and you're just such a, and you have ever since then. So 2013 to 2023, 10 years we knew each other
Mhm.
in Seattle. You're the
Mhm.
only person uh, who saw in that area who saw me through the entire period.
Yeah.
And I just think that's such an interesting perspective to, because you always are pulling back. Yeah.
Well, it's also interesting seeing how you came. Like, it's really because before, I think each of us had our own arcs. Like, we had arcs before we even came into this kind of second field. We each had our own reasons that we wanted to do this, but it's not an easy thing going back to school at, like, I was 36 at that time. I was starting over at 36 because it's just like, what am I doing with my life? And I think that we had a group of this, like, this was an adult kind of computer science course, post baccalaureate. It's like a full university degree. You have to have your bachelor's degree, and then you have to go through a bunch of crazy math classes. And it was very stressful. And I was a piano player. I'm not a math person. I don't have a big brain. I have a small brain. And it was just like this incredibly kind of intimidating thing. And then we go in, and I remember that Latham would always do all of the assignments really fast and was very assiduous. Every detail, all the I's were dotted and all the T's were crossed.
That's a really good
Yeah,
word.
yeah. That's a Lathamism. I think it's still in there somewhere. I think that you've learned to kind of relax a little bit, it seems. But yeah, there's there's
But
probably in there
no,
somewhere.
actually, oh, it's very much.
Mm,
Like, look at all of this.
yeah.
My girlfriend mentions that she sees this. She says that this is something she sees in me is like I have sort of the festival vibe,
Hmm.
camp free
Hmm.
hugs. Look at
Hmm.
this guy. This guy's probably not dotting the I's and crossing the T's. We're not even sure if this duck is real.
Is
The
that guy?
jury's out.
The duck might not be
This is
real.
Patrick. This is Patrick the gnome.
That's
He's
just
the
Patrick the
mascot of
gnome.
Camp Hug.
Is he also
Yeah,
the
somebody
person?
in the lobby.
Is this a way?
Go
Is
ahead.
this like an avatar for Latham? Are you Camp Free Hugs? Are you the guy that's giving the hugs? Are you the gnome?
No, I wouldn't say so. I'm not Patrick. So, but look at this setup behind me. Everything
Yeah.
back here, every molecule in this condo that I'm in has been
Mm-hmm.
designed with purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And like I do everything that way. The Camp Free Hugs
Yeah.
document, the planning. I was a Marine. I bring that. That's actually the value that I think I provide to this
Yeah.
community, which can sometimes be a little bit disorganized. Um, but now Camp Free Hugs is actually exploding. It started as part of out of a festival,
Mm-hmm.
but now I think the Virginia Camp Free Hugs, which is not a festival and
Mm-hmm.
attracts a lot of people who've never been to festivals and are not interested in festivals,
Yeah.
and I think that is going to end up being a lot bigger than the Camp Free Hugs at the festival. So
Yeah.
it's really been nice to see that. And so my skill set is that what exactly what you described
Uh,
is bringing the
but that's why I think it's so
planner.
interesting because your skill set, if you were just like Mr. Marine, that's a real boring skill set. Just like if I was Mr. Computer, that's a real boring skill set. But because I came into it as like I was a ballet accompanist, I used to play piano in schmaltzy rich people parties. And it's such a strange thing to go from being the guy at the piano that's like, "Hey, what can I play for you?" Right? And then there's a little jar with tip jar, like a tip margarita glass on the piano, right? Like picture that, and then picture that same guy going into computer science school and going into like a room full of extreme, like, they're very logical thinkers, right? And I'm Tip Jar Larry. Hey guys, right? This is where I think there's a lot of interesting like collisions. Your collisions with festival scenes as a Marine make you a really interesting and useful person because I think it tempers a little bit of your crazy, just like it tempers a little bit of my crazy.
So I don't know if you give yourself enough credit. Tip Jar Larry, just so everyone knows, was a concert pianist at the ballet. I've heard him play. He was kind enough to play on his own piano in the basement. I still remember this. I tell people about this. It was one of the most sublime experiences of my life listening to Ray
Uh,
play. I was just in not just of Ray, but like what humans are capable of. Just like why?
mm,
Just love the human experience. So he's a wonderful, wonderful piano player and you've been very successful. I know you're very successful in your chosen field,
mm.
much more successful than me, to be perfectly frank. So yeah,
I would say
just
it's
wanted to throw that
different
out. Just want to
success.
throw that out there.
The So I love there's this Pixar movie Soul, and there's this great scene in it where the guy he dreams his whole life of playing with he wants to play jazz in this specific club with a specific group, and he's just like, I don't think I'm worthy, I don't think I'm good enough. He finally gets his big chance, and he does it, and he walks out with them, and then he's like, okay, so what next? It was amazing, sublime, perfect, best experience of his life, and he says, what next? And they're all like, we come back and do it again tomorrow. And this moment where you realize that like inflection point, you reach your dreams, you reach for the stars, and then you catch a star, and then it's like, now what? That is always this really interesting problem. My reach for the dreams, like I reached for the stars, and I was making about 30K a year. In Seattle, that's a pretty rough salary. So success can be measured in multiple ways, you know. I did make about
So,
$150 a night in tips, so that was nice.
so um, um, yeah, somewhat similar for me. So that brought you to the computer science program.
Mhm.
Are you mimicking me? Is that what's happening right
You're
now?
I
You
think there's
crossing
lag.
arms
I think you crossed your arms when I crossed my arms.
at the same time.
Oh, it
We'll
didn't.
find
Okay.
out
Yeah.
when it uploads. We'll find out because it'll all be synced up. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so I was brought to the computer science program when I realized that making a difference in the world for vulnerable populations was maybe not overseas specifically
Yeah. Yeah.
was maybe not conducive to raising a family and having a stable lifestyle and
Hmm.
being with my kids primarily, but also supporting my kids.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it was also like, okay, I'm going to go around the world overseeing these programs with these spreadsheets and never like they don't need me. Like I felt very like anyone can do these spreadsheets. Like
Yeah.
they don't need Latham. They just
Yeah.
need someone who can open a spreadsheet and move numbers around. So like, what am I doing? Yeah, so kind of a similar moment.
It's a difficult thing. Then you realize that you kind of have hit a wall, and you're like, okay, now what? Like the fact that multiple people in that group were thinking, I think it's time to pivot. Right? I went into my new company um, as one of the oldest people, and I continue to be the oldest person in every room by like 20 years. It's a really strange thing because it's just like everyone that I'm around this is their first version of this, right? And this is my second version of this. This is my second iteration of a life. Um, and it really matters. It really, really matters. No one cares that you're old for experience. They care that you're old because, you aren't going out to the bar with them after work, right? Like there are these just little like subtle things that are really interesting. The age gap kind of it's yeah. Maybe I don't want to go too far into that. It's an interesting place to be. Um, and maybe this isn't
I'm
my last
15.
last version of this.
This is my fourth career. I'm not starting over again. I can't do it. It's
Are
not.
you?
I've thought about doing some other things from time to time, and maybe I'll explore them as a hobby. I
Mhm.
can't start over again. I can't do career number 5 in my mid 40s.
I think you need to
Um,
incorporate Camp Free Hugs. Camp Free Hugs, the corporation.
and how can I? It's free though. How can I make money off something that is
That
free right in the name?
that's the trick.
I'm 15 years older than everyone else at my level where I work.
Mhm.
And I actually think it's fine because, as far as I can tell, all anybody cares about is your results. Like, did you do what you're supposed to do? Did you contribute to our goals for this quarter, and
Mhm.
maybe a little bit more? Okay, and if socially, socially, I feel like things are pretty good. I've made some good friends there. 5 of them came to Camp Free Hugs last year.
Yes.
Hoping to get a lot more this year. Uh, yeah, so I've had a pretty, I would say, as good experience as I can expect given my age. But it would be nice to have been doing this for another 15 years. Like I'm just
Mhm.
interested. Like I look at people who are my age who are just 3, 4 levels above me, and I'm
Yeah.
just curious. Like what if I had poured myself into this from the very beginning, like all of
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
you know? But I wouldn't be doing this. So
Yeah.
and
I think
I
that's
wouldn't
the
have the
difference.
girlfriend that I
That's
have. I'm
where I
going to
think it's
drop
really,
the
yeah.
girlfriend as much as I can, by the way,
Mm.
since I have one of those now.
Nicely done, Nathan. I'm very proud of you. I think this is what success
Thank you.
looks like,
Thank
though.
you. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I I've been thinking a lot about that. Maybe this is like midlife crisis. Maybe it's like I don't know. But like the question of what can I say I'm okay, I've got an example. So when I was working at Nordstrom as a software engineer, I remember that I had worked really, really hard, and I got into this team that was reporting all of the point of sales numbers. And I was responsible for aggregating all of that for one of these, like it's a giant corporation, and um, I was kind of proud of that. And I went to this conference. There was this technology called Spark, and it was like a thing that we used to aggregate stuff, right? So take all the numbers, put them in a pile, and make sense of that. Um, and I sat next to this, like, I just sat in a row, and there were a bunch of people next to me, and I made friends with everyone. Um, Guy next to me was like, "Hey, what do you do?" And I said, "I work at Nordstrom," and I was so proud of myself. And I said, "I'm capturing all these point of sale metrics so that we can report them to the stock market and make money." And then the guy next to me is like, "Yeah, I work at Fred Hutch. I'm curing cancer." And I'm like, right? And this was like the general, like the rest of the line. We just kind of went down the line, and someone is curing AIDS, someone is working on COVID, someone, it's just like, you know, uh,
Were you
so
at like a disease treatment conference or something? Like,
no,
why
it was
was
a big,
everyone
it was a
in
big
sort
data
of
conference,
medical
and big
stuff?
data. It was a big data conference. Yeah, and so my point there being that, if I look back at what I'm giving to the world, does making Nordstrom's point of sales transaction aggregation better? Does that make the world better? And maybe that's a real question. In some way it might.
Why do you, why do you need to make the world better?
I
What do you
don't know.
want
I
to
think
make? Why does that hit you?
it's like the measure of personal value. If I'm asking myself how I'm measuring my own personal value, these are things that I think I should be measuring. And I think that might be a broken measure, but it sure is easier to say I cured cancer than it is to say, and I'm valuable there. Like, by that, I have put value back into the world, right? I've I've validated the fact that I used my genome for these, 65 years to you know, just make things better, right? And I don't know, it's like most of us just do things selfishly. We want to have a nicer car or a nicer house or whatever.
Do you still feel that way now?
Yeah. Yeah, well, it feels empty on the other side of that, Like I have an okay place right now. I'm living in Los Angeles, and that is a dream. It's been a dream, and it's now a reality, and I'm really proud of that. And so that's something, right? And so it's something to have this pride in the thing that I have been able to accomplish for myself. Um, but it also, if I really introspect, is a little bit empty.
I have some thoughts if you're willing
Mhm.
to receive them.
Yes, give the thought.
Um, so Nordstrom makes things that people want,
Hmm.
and Fred Hutch makes things that people need.
Hmm.
So, like, which is better and which is more important
It's
in your
tricky.
view?
I think that's the thing. Like music, is music a necessity or is music an extra bonus feature? I think when I'm playing as, the tip jar Larry at a swanky party, then I am no better than a glorified Sonos, right? They got these speaker systems, and suddenly my gigs started drying up. And that was like, oh, I really am just a Sonos, you know?
Wait, is that really something? Is that really something that happened?
That absolutely 100% happened, yeah. Every one of those rich people got a very swanky Sonos Bluetooth system that they could play the songs in every room, and they hooked it up to Spotify's like smooth jams playlist, and suddenly pianists were not necessary anymore.
So this is a real thing
Nordstrom,
that happened to
yeah,
your industry.
yeah.
Was it
Well,
like
think
new
about this.
speakers or something? Like what changed? We've had speakers for decades.
The difference was it was I don't know why I just remember that Sonos was the tipping point. Um, I think about that in Nordstrom stores. Do you remember Nordstrom used to have pianists?
Yeah,
They don't anymore.
it's
I
just
don't think
Sonos
that's
now.
because of Sonos, but I think that it was a shift. I think it probably
There
has
was
more
some
to do
sort
with
of
the fact.
advancement in speaker technology, or maybe cost. Like you get very high quality speakers for a small cost.
Yeah.
I
Or
don't
you
know. I
can
mean, I don't. I mean, a pianist in Nordstrom, like you can't replicate that with some speakers. That
hmm,
is class.
yeah.
You feel like you are a premium person if you're strolling around looking at underwear and there's somebody serenading you on a piano.
You've got that little bag and you've got a piano in the background. Yeah. I don't know. I wonder if it's anachronistic, like I wonder if the 20 somethings of the world would feel class, or if they would just be like, why is that guy playing the piano over there? Or lady. Yeah. I don't know. It's
So I have another. So
mm,
what if everyone in the world was only working on things that we need?
mhm,
The only things that were available to anyone was stuff that you need because nobody was wasting their time on these
mhm.
silly things that we want, like handbags and cool jackets. I have a sick leather jacket from Nordstrom. It's so freaking awesome. I love that thing. I wear it every day. It's part of my
Mhm.
identity. Um, or music,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I mean, I think that we've had that in certain countries. I won't name countries, but well, I can name one country. I lived in Russia from 1997 to 1999. It was not too long after communism, stopped being a thing, and I lived across multiple parts of the country, and it was really interesting to see the remnants of communism. Right, like to an extent, what you're doing there is you're saying that we're going to take the things that are necessary and make those things king, and anything that's not necessary doesn't need to be in existence anymore. Like, we don't need flavor, we just need potatoes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a really good point. I think that it's like the some of the best joys in life are the things that are not necessary. So that's a good thought.
Do you
Does
still
it
speak
does it
Russian?
Yes, but I'm not going to speak it here. It will be too embarrassing.
Well,
This lives on
I wouldn't
forever.
understand it, so I wouldn't ask you to.
Yeah,
I'm just
the
curious.
internet will find it in 10 years.
The internet will find it? What does that mean?
Yeah. That anything you put online is going to live there forever. And so if I say bad Russian and then I tell everyone I'm such a great Russian speaker, and then dig this interview up and they're gonna be like, remember that time?
They're not just gonna dig it up. I have a this is going public, as you may know,
Hmm.
by next week probably, and I
Hmm.
do have viewers.
Yeah,
A loyal, and I thank all my viewers. Every one of you is precious to me. A small but growing group of viewers, so it may go. It's a smart move because things might go public more than you sooner than
yeah,
you think.
that's right.
I
I
have another thought too on choosing a career that with purpose.
hmm
If you really to receive it. Thought number two, second and final thought. Uh, well, first of all, this is part A of the second thought. 2A.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, you have helped. If I may talk about your family
Uh-huh.
for a minute, is that okay?
Yeah.
You have been tremendously helpful, and it's because they're related to you, but you still have been through a lot helping some very vulnerable and needful people
Mhm.
and put a huge amount of your life into it, as far as I can tell. And I think you've made a big difference for those people. So I don't think that you personally really need to worry about, what you've contributed from your genome.
Yeah.
And then 2B, 2B.
Hmm.
is what can you do outside of work
Yeah.
to find that purpose?
Yeah.
Like I picked up a guy the other day. It's all iced in here. We need more snow right now. The sidewalks were completely crushed, iced up, like 3 feet of ice. So nobody could wait in the bus stops. So it's like 10 p.m. at night. This poor guy in a walker is waiting. He can't get up to the bus stop. He's waiting in the road. People are just swerving around him. This is like
Oh.
people are going 50 miles an hour down this road and they're just swerving. They're almost hitting him. There's no lights. So I swerved to miss him. And then I was like, somebody has to help that dude because nobody
Yeah.
else is. So
Yeah.
I went back around and I picked him up and I took him to the shelter where he was going. And he was so grateful. And I think it was more, he didn't actually really need the ride because the bus came along like 2 minutes later. But he felt seen. And I talked to him. He told me
Yeah.
his whole story. He came here from Ethiopia alone. And then he hurt his leg, so he couldn't work. And then he ended up at the shelter. And yeah, so I guess the point is there's small ways you can find
Yeah.
purpose besides shifting your entire career and livelihood. That's my second point.
That's a really good point. It's interesting because uh so our across the hall neighbors, they just adopted a dog. But they adopted a dog because one of so my neighbor works in a restaurant and the chef found a dog in the trash. Like someone had thrown the dog in the trash. And he came home with it, and now that's their dog as of like yesterday. And that thing, it's like when we start to recognize that beyond all of our weird delineations, we're connected, we're deeply connected. Like the fact that you saw that guy and no one else saw that guy. The fact that someone was willing to pull a dog out of the garbage and then change their whole life because again, you adopt an animal that is now your child and it's a big commitment, right? These are things that I think these are things that matter. And maybe it's not just career. Maybe career is nice because you can live in Los Angeles. But you can also try to see people while you're living in Los Angeles, and you can have both. You can have your cake and eat it too.
And what's more, I'll give you a third point,
Mhm.
having a stable life and income
Knock on
increases
wood.
your ability to go out and do that and help other people. Like if your own life is unstable and you're barely making it because you wanted to go, you know, work on helping vulnerable, work on changing the world, and then you can't, the amount
Yeah,
of good, yeah.
yeah,
Even
it's
if you're
really
just
an
giving
interesting.
your even if you're
It's
just giving your annual bonus to buy malaria nets in Africa, you're saving a lot more lives than you probably would be if you worked for Fred Hutch,
yeah,
frankly.
yeah, yeah,
Fred Hutch has
and
plenty of people. Fred
and
Hutch
maybe
is
what?
fine. There's plenty of
Yeah,
people who want to go
exactly.
work on cancer at Fred Hutch.
But you know what? That's
It's
also a
money that they
job. It
need.
is a
It's
job.
not. It's not people. It's not. It's so I've worked for these organizations.
Yeah,
It's not really people that they need. There's teeming hordes of people, high
yeah,
principled people who want to do that work. They need
yeah,
money to
yeah,
pay those people. Like it's really all they need.
yeah. And there are a lot of people who have that money and who do good things with it, and I'm actually really happy about that too. It's interesting because we hear a lot about all of the terrible things that rich people do and the terrible things that money does, and we sometimes don't focus on the fact that at the same time on the other side of that, we have fundraisers. We do raise these funds. Money comes in. I think this is another part of humanity that it's not quite as flashy. It doesn't hit the news quite as well. It's maybe a very small part of their donations, and maybe it's just a big tax write-off, and I can be cynical as much as I want, but the fact remains it's funded and it continues to be funded, and there are other organizations like that do make things happen and make the world better, and you have impact at whatever level you can make impact. Like camp-free hugs, I think, is a form of impact. I think that it's a thing where you're recognizing that humans need human connection, and the things that happen to you, the way that you were able to transform your life because you found the festival scene, right? I can't tell the world enough about how this shifted Latham around. Like it healed you in a lot of ways, and
You
that
saw
that
it. You
mm,
saw every step of it all along the way. A lot of the
yeah,
people in the festival scene think that I'm, say things about how I changed and everything, but I met them after that happened.
yeah,
You are one of the only people who was close enough to see the entire thing from beginning to the
yeah.
present.
It's funny because I think so. I'm not necessarily a religious. I'm spiritual, but I don't like plug myself into any religions. But I think that there are certain people that find a religion and their life changes, and it changes for the good. And I've seen that happen. I've seen the opposite. But I think that it's not just religion that can do that. I think that it's finding something that has a lot of deep meaning to you personally, and then giving yourself to that thing deeply.
I think that someone once told me that everyone has a religion,
Mm.
and I think there's some truth to that.
What if your religion is Gucci and Rolex?
Well, then that's what it is. Mammon. You serve mammon. Worship material wealth. Is that your religion? Is that your
No,
spirituality?
no, I don't think that's a. I actually don't totally understand why some. I don't totally understand. Mm, yeah, I don't totally understand the extreme luxury market, but that's just because maybe it's not me that they're catering to.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So what is the last campfire
Oh, let
that
me
you actually set around?
can't free hugs.
That was the very last time you were sitting around a campfire with people, human people, and smelling the smoke and getting it infused in your skin.
It's the only time I go. I don't go camping typically.
Hmm.
It's because I want to go camping. Camping is not inherently interesting to me.
Hmm.
A lot of people like the outdoors and like the experience, and that's not. I'm There's a lot of things I don't do now. In fact, I do almost nothing.
Hmm.
Like all the activities you can name that humans do to fill their time, I don't do any of them. All I
Hmm.
want to do is make human connections with people and
Hmm.
chat, tell stories and hear their stories. That's what I want.
Yeah.
So I go camping for that. And so
Hmm.
that's really just once a year. Um, but that's the actual fire. I'm doing that all the time. But an
Yeah.
actual lit fire once a year at Camp Free Hugs. And I just wanted to say that you're saying like I make a difference through Camp Free Hugs. And I just want to provide one example that's very meaningful to me.
Hmm.
Is a friend came back from Camp Free Hugs this year, and he saw the way the kids were running around and like being free, and he said that it changed his perspective on how he wanted to raise his own children someday.
Hmm.
Like the way that he was raised was just very strict, and he always thought that that was just the only way to do it. And
Yeah.
it opened his eyes. So potentially, it changed those kids' lives, and they may never even know it. So the ripple effects of putting positive energy out there, I think, are really should not be underestimated.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a. I think that's a way of, it's funny because if I had any sort of religion or spirituality, I always thought of it like a radio station. I think that everyone there, well, maybe radio doesn't really exist anymore, but back in the day, there was this thing called radio, and you would turn your little knob, and the knob would like come in strong on certain stations, and maybe it was a country music station, or maybe it was a hard rock station, or maybe it was an oldie station, or maybe it was like the, alternative station. And I had like three or four stations that I really liked, and I would save them. And I had a whole bunch that I really didn't like, and all of them came through just strong and clear, crystal clear, right? But I had some that were like those. That's me. I'm connected to that. And I I feel like that's kind of an analogy or a metaphor for what religion can be. You have all of these different things that are going to be the thing that someone needs, that someone wants. It's their flavor. It's their way, their path to being better. Um, yeah, but as long as it's like leading people toward that better, right? That's the piece that I think matters.
But I think that that you receive that frequency because you're tuned. Yeah, because so that like you find the religion that you're tuned into. Yeah,
Mhm.
like so my brother is I was talking to him about his experience with religion recently, and it's for him it's a very strong sense of like doing like living a good life and being good and like just like having good values, basically having like good morals. And and then my religion, you could say, is bass music. You could fairly say that it is. And but that to me is community,
Yeah,
and I was looking for that and tuning
yeah.
myself into that, and I found it. So yeah, I think we choose our own religions, which I think is what
And I
you're
think that
saying.
led you to see that guy out in the snowstorm, right? That's the sort of thing that it's like not everyone is seeing that person. And I'm not saying that it's a religion thing. I am saying that, your particular choice
Call it
of,
spiritual. Call it spirituality.
yeah, yeah. But
That's the
that
term
that
that
piece,
frequency
I
is.
think, to me, that's the whole like you can tell someone by what they do, not what they say, right? If you're putting good things out into the universe, then everyone will be able to tell that. They'll just be able to tell it by meeting you when they shake your hand. It's and things like that moment where you saw that guy, those are just accidental because that's exactly who you are all the time.
I think everybody is like that, honestly, all the way down inside. I think
Mhm.
the world is brutal,
Yeah,
and people get defensive and they put shells up and they layer things on and they develop aspects of personality that they have made out of fear and defensiveness. But I
yeah.
think deep down, everyone is the person who would pull over and get that guy. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying, yeah, I don't want to hard touch on that because there's plenty of people doing more good than me. But I guess like, yeah, it lives in everyone. You're saying it's me.
Mm.
I feel like it's everyone. It's just a question of like digging down deep enough and finding the real you.
Yeah. Yeah. And finding like different people have different, like I finish work and sometimes when I'm driving home from work, I am pissed off, right? I've had a bad day and I'm driving home and I'll honk at people and I put all sorts of negative, nasty stuff out there, right? And I'm not a mean, bad person. I had a bad day and I just like made problems all the way home. And in LA, actually, everyone's doing that because it's LA. Everyone's honking and making noise and making problems, right? Um,
The land of
but that's the
cars.
sort of, yeah. Like this, and then there's this question of do I just like swallow that, right? If I have a bad day, do I just like swallow it up? I don't want to put any bad stuff out there. I want that to just be processed through me and disappear, right? Is this healthy? I think that we have a lot of people that do that because they're trying to be amendable. They're trying to be nice. And they probably have a lot of very difficult stuff that they're dealing with and they would really like to scream, you know? I think um one if I call it a talent, one talent that I have is that if I'm angry, I yell. If I'm happy, I can't hide it. I have no poker face. And I think
That's
that's
true.
a it's a
I can confirm
it's
that.
hey.
One of your best qualities.
I think it's a talent. I think it's something that is really helpful because I feel happy a lot and I make people around me happy because I think if I'm happy, it's like this infectious thing. And so I try to at least bring happiness. And that means I will listen to video game podcasts on the way to work and I will like just I don't know. I can tell you one thing. Moving from Seattle, um I was actually super super depressed. I was on a bunch of prescription drugs to make me not feel anything. And I got here
From
and
Seattle, same from Seattle to LA.
yeah, from Seattle to LA. I got here
Where
and
where
within 2 months, all of that went away. And I'm just kind of
it's
idiotically
the
happy
sun,
all the
dude.
time.
It's the sun. Oh, Seattle is
It
so awful. I tell everyone.
is.
I lived in Seattle. They're like, "Oh, it's so beautiful in the summer." Do not fall for it. Oh, the same thing. I came to Virginia. I
Yeah.
got off the plane. Literally, I got off the plane, and I was just like my mood was boosted. I
Mm.
was just like, oh, vitamin D.
Yeah.
Oh, I
I
just want
feel
to
like
say to the
Seattle's got
viewers
mm,
that I am, in case you were wondering, wearing a little bit of mascara eyeliner. We did
so
like a
rad.
goth sort of thing, goth outing, and there's still a little bit left. I couldn't get it all off, so I kind of like it. It makes my eyes like pop a little bit. My girlfriend loves it, so yeah.
This might be a new thing for you, Latham.
You think so?
Yeah, I think you should. I think
Goth,
you should.
goth Latham. It's the
Yeah,
next time you talk to me, it's all going to be like skulls back here, and I'll just be like
black
the
nail
crow,
polish.
dressed
Yeah,
up like
yeah.
like Marilyn
I
Manson.
I hope that. I really do hope that. Just
Oh,
don't go off the deep end. Stay,
I
stay,
think
stay.
I think I think I'm getting pretty far into the bedrock of who I actually am. I
Mhm.
think this is pretty near the bottom layer. Although I've
Yeah.
thought that before, and there's always seems to be another layer that I wasn't even expecting. So
Did
yeah.
you feel that in your? Okay, I'll go back a little bit. As a musician, as a pianist, Um, I loved practicing like scales, arpeggios, trying to be faster and better. I loved practicing Bach because it was like a puzzle for my muscles and a puzzle for my brain, and it was just kind of this like competitive athleticism. And that was something that was inherent in me, where I wanted to just be better, faster, stronger, right? Like that, and I think it's an intrinsic thing. And I realized that because I did that. Um, and then I realized that I didn't need to define myself by being the, fastest scale player or, you name it, right? It's kind of like the Olympics, someone is the longest long jumper or the highest high jumper, and that's amazing. It's amazing, right? And
I
then the
was just
person,
I was just telling somebody today how pointless I think the Olympics are.
I think it's a great thing to be striving and pushing against those extreme
It,
boundaries
eh, I don't know why. What's the
when
point?
you have time
I think
for it. When you're,
the Olympics are of some value
mm,
as maybe if we're doing the Olympics, maybe we're not blowing each other up with nuclear weapons. I
yeah,
think maybe that's really the only value they provide. Like the actual tasks, I'm like, they set the world record for skiing down a hill. I'm like, okay, I don't like what's the point? I guess people
yeah,
want to watch it. They're interested in that, so goes back into like what people need versus what people want. I don't
hmm
care personally, but
hmm
yeah, maybe that doesn't mean it's pointless.
But then so this is all a long-winded preamble to a question about like when you were in the Marines. That's a
Yes,
question.
the Marine Corps.
When you were in the Marine Corps, did you did you connect to that? Was there something in you that loved discipline? Was there something in you that loved like the hoo-ha of it? Is that a Marine thing?
Why did you ask that question? What
Because
prompted you to the
so
question?
the corollary here is for me, I was a musician to get better, faster, stronger, and I think that there are a bunch of different dimensions of that. I'm curious about and so this goes all the way back to you mining your bedrock, right? Understanding who you are as a person. I understand now that this is a part of me, that I'm very competitive. I understand that this is like that Olympian thing. I'm not an Olympian. I was never first. I was always second at best. But I was always pushing because I'm very competitive. And so I understand that about myself because of that side. And so it doesn't come to me as a surprise when I feel that rearing its head. So, Bedrock, Marines, go.
I would say I've always been pretty competitive. I was drawn to the Marines because I don't know about so much the. I don't know, it's a complicated question of what drew me into the Marines.
Mm,
Let me try. It's not related to the Marines though. Yeah, I like discipline, and
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I've lost 50 pounds over the last 6 months,
Yeah.
and that requires discipline. And when I get focused, it's like ADHD, it's like weaponized
Hmm.
ADHD. ADHD is a superpower if you can just point it in the right direction. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's your worst enemy. Uh, so yeah, when I get going on something, I do usually exercise what some might even call extreme discipline and structure in pursuing that. And I am pretty
Mhm.
competitive, so yeah, that rings true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, to just interject, the program that we went through, this whole computer science program, was a multi-year program, but we did it in four quarters essentially. Like this group that we were in, you and I, and then a couple of other people, we forced our way through that at light speed because question mark, and no one
Well,
does that. I
I
don't even
wasn't
think they
working.
allow it
I
anymore.
wasn't working at the time.
Ah.
Like my wife at the time kindly allowed me to take an entire year off to go switch careers while she
Mhm.
worked pregnant and supported me. So thank you so much to Kindle if she ever watches this. She's a very strong person.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, it doesn't discount the fact that
So
you
are you
did do a
saying that
lot.
you're saying that we went, saying that because we are similar in that way, we went through that together?
I'm saying that is, I think that I was able to do that because I had my background. You were able to do that because you had your background. And I've actually shepherded a few people through that program since, and they don't do it in a
Oh,
year.
that's so great.
Nobody does it in a year. Nobody does it in 2 years.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
But were they full time on it or
Yeah. I
really?
mean, if you think about, I mean, for me, it was actually really, really difficult because I wasn't a math person. I wasn't an engineering person. I wasn't a computer person. And so not only was I learning a whole bunch of stuff, I was doing, what was it, 100 credit hours total in a year? Like just crazy, crazy things. And I'm proud of that. But I think that there's something fundamental in each of us, and I think you can kind of think through that, right? Like think of the people that you know that went through that together. There is some common ADHD, kind of crazy, kind of driven, kind of competitive, right? Yeah.
I think that's why well, that's interesting to me because if there's two words I could use to describe you, it would be infectious happiness, which is why I wish I could talk to you more than once every 9 months or so,
Hmm.
because it's always such a good conversation.
Oh.
Uh, it That reminds me of when you I flipped from needing support from you, needing someone to vent to and listen to me, to being happy about my life. And I remember that phone
Mhm.
call specifically, and you were like so happy. You were like,
Yeah.
I'm so happy to hear from Happy Latham. Like things
Yeah.
are actually good news. Like, yeah, infectious happiness. And so I
Yeah.
think that like we bring a sort of silliness and joy to life, but also discipline and structure. And
Mm.
yeah, yeah, it's a really interesting point.
And it's like this inherently chaotic. I I think of the exploration of life, right? Like I think about every time I think I'm going to take up a new, I don't really go into hobbies. I really go like deep into things. I have friends that go much, much deeper. So, but at the same time, I think there's this kind of structure to exploration and curiosity and investigation. I think that it's really fun, but I also have to have like a benevolent feedback loop so that I can continue deep diving. Right? When I learned language, when I learned music, when I learned, um, yeah, it's an important thing to have that balance of fun, joy, curiosity, childlike nature with the maturity and structure of being able to like, this is what I'm going to do next. This is I'm doing this toward an end. I have a reason for it. I remember that I was going to I went through music school first and I wanted to become a concert piano teacher, like a concert pianist, but a professor of piano performance. And to do that, we had to go through pedagogy classes. And one of the things that we learned early was that children under like 11-ish, they're just kind of, they're motivated by curiosity, but they're kind of like wiggles, right? They just do stuff. And then adults are the opposite. Adults are very structured in their approach, and they get very frustrated very quickly because their brains grasp all of the ideas, but their muscles don't keep up. And so you have kids that are able to just kind of wiggle their way through, and they'll, mom and dad force them to practice, and they get better. And then they get to play their, song that they got from K-pop Demon Hunters, and they're really excited about that, and that motivates them to the next step. And so it's this kind of accidental tripping forward into greatness, as opposed to adults who need structure and need that feedback, need that positive feedback, and recognizing that is like a key to helping to teach people to move forward, because children are not adults, but they're both curious, and they're both driven, and they're both full of wonder, and they're both full of joy. It's just you have to give it to them in the way that their brains need it.
So my girlfriend and I have talked about like digging out your inner child, and it's
Mhm.
cliche, but the inner child really is important. And it gets covered up by so many different things: the way you were raised, the world, your career, and yeah, that sense of play and silliness. It's really important toward happiness, in my view. And I know people on both sides of the spectrum. I know people who are very serious, structured, disciplined, but they've lost a little bit of that joy and that silliness. And some of them are kind of wondering, what is this for? What is all this? Where am I going with this? And then on the other side, I see people who are so in touch with their inner child. They're having so much fun. And, you know, they wonder, I don't want to be too harsh.
Mhm.
They wonder why they just got evicted, I guess would be
Yeah, yeah,
would be not to put too fine a
yeah,
point on it. We both.
yeah. And people, I think every one of us knows both of those people. We all know those people, yeah.
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 And I think that it's a real problem that you can't find the nice balance in between, right? Like you say that I'm always happy, and I'm pretty happy. And it's never a facade. If I'm not feeling happy, I'm not going to
I didn't
pretend.
say that you're always happy. I
Mm.
said that you're infectiously happy. You bring happiness to me. You bring happiness to others. I've seen you go through your stuff as well. I was there,
Yeah,
just like you were there every step for me.
yeah.
I've seen your journey, and yeah, you even when you're down, you bring happiness. I guess that's what I was trying to communicate. Yeah.
Aw, that's the best. That's a hug. I just gave you a hug. Actually, that was interesting because that was a little thing that I was thinking about just a second ago when you were talking about like the inner child. Hugs are a weird thing for people. And so the idea that you have a thing called camp free hugs, I can talk about this on my family, right? My dad's side of the family are not physical at all. No hugs, no kisses. Grandma and grandpa, no touchy. My mom's side of the family, all hugs all the time. It was just like that's how they express themselves, and it's like an entire line of people. Everyone on my mom's side hugs all the time, and everyone on my dad's side does not touch. Um, so what I'm getting at is hugs are a very interesting thing, right? Hugs are kind of this expression of your ability to it's actually pretty complicated, right? Physical connection with another human being. You might be trained to be okay with that. You might be trained to not be okay with that. But at the end, a hug always makes people feel better, right? It's just like
I
how do
thought
you?
about this. I thought about this a lot. I
Mhm,
consider myself a hugologist.
mhm,
I've given thousands of hugs and
mhm,
received thousands of hugs over the past 3 years. I walk around with this. I wear this every day.
mhm.
You'd be interested at the people who would just give me hugs, and I'll carry
Yeah,
signs at these concerts I go to that say free hugs. People will just be assaulting me left and right,
yeah,
and some of those people I'm still friends with today. Like they just gave me a hug, and then we're still friends today.
yeah.
And yeah, so I think about hugs quite a bit, and
Mhm.
What I've recently started doing is instead of like, if someone gives me a hug randomly, I'll say, that hug was, I'll rate the hug. I'll be like 4 out of 10. Give me a 10 out of 10. And then like an intentional hug
Mhm.
is on a whole other level, you
Mhm.
know? And I provide that consent. Like
Yeah.
I'm here to receive. And I mean, I haven't done this yet at a concert. I just came up with this thought. My girlfriend actually helped me with it uh, recently, and it's working out pretty well. We asked a few people, "Would you like a 10 out of 10 hug?" or "Can you give me a 10 out of 10 hug?" And they just hold you, man. We're talking like
Wow.
face to face contact. And I have had because you know, I've been rating hugs this whole time. I just never thought
Yeah.
to ask for a 10 out of 10. I've had
Yeah.
hugs that people just hold you.
Mhm.
They just hold you,
Mhm.
and just that touch is just so important. You could, yeah.
Yeah. It's
And
interesting
yeah,
because
people
I
are reluctant. People are reluctant because it's like, oh, a hug. I don't know this person. What can I do? And
and then they give you
yeah,
the
it's the pat. Yeah.
yeah. I think that it would be funny to unleash you on my dad's side of the family.
I don't
I'll
know
just be like, he's a
about
hugger,
that. But
he's a hugger, and then just see what
oh,
happens.
oh, wait, oh, you're saying the side of your family that doesn't do as much
Yes,
physical
yes,
contact.
yes, yes. When I say as much, I mean none. No touchy, no touchy. Yeah. It's always been this really interesting dichotomy in my life because I have this extremely
I don't.
huggy side, and then the other side is like no touch.
But my hugs always are with consent,
Mm.
obviously. So
Okay, so
I
what
don't,
would
and you
happen
know,
is you would
it would
just
be.
say,
I will. I agree with you. I agree with you that it would be interesting. I agree with you. The hugologist, the person who considers himself a hugologist, is going to come into contact with a family that doesn't do hugs.
okay.
That would be interesting.
I think you just wouldn't
Yeah.
get consent from anyone because you would say, "Can I hug you?" and they would say no, and that would be the end of it, and it would be really simple.
Well,
It would just be a
that was
line
kind of
of
my
no's.
my point. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I also
Yeah.
probably wouldn't ask them for help. I think that's depending on the context. I almost never ask for hugs. In fact,
Mhm.
very rarely. I'll let the
Except you're
short do the
wearing an
talking.
advertisement.
I have free hugs on my back too, with
Mhm.
my jacket at shows and stuff.
Mhm.
And
That means
yeah, I'm
that the
not sure how the
huggers are
10 10.
huggers are
Yeah,
self-selecting. That's what's happening. Is the people who are willing to hug are coming up to you and hugging. This is like the
that,
top 10% huggers. How are you going to dig down into the depths of the people who have not had hugs but probably could really use one? Like, I will tell you, I think some of my cousins might not have had any hugs in their whole life.
you know, I never thought about it that way.
Hmm.
I always kind of assumed that if someone's coming up for a free hug, they need a hug. But it's the people, to your point, perhaps the people who most know these hugs, who would
Hmm.
never ask for it.
Hmm.
I'm gonna have to dwell on that. There's gonna be a new
Yeah,
chapter in the book of hugology.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a
I
really good
needed to
point.
think of some hug alternatives because for some, I think like a fist bump is a big, big deal, right? Like sometimes, like any physical connection is something.
Well, I'll definitely do fist bumps. Everyone around me is getting a fist bump.
Yeah.
Um, so I'll have to, yeah, I'm going to think about that. I don't want to give you a knee jerk reaction. I am going to give
Okay.
you a response on how I can reach the most hug deprived populations. Because that is my goal. That is my entire goal of
Yeah.
all of this. Is I don't want to reach the people. I do. It's fun who already
Mhm.
have community. It's the people like me who are seeking community and weren't really sure how to go about it. Those are the people I want to suck in.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, I mean, that's an interesting question. When you think about what brought you in the very, very first moment, was it Shambhala? Was that what the like that was the one turning point, like ding, light bulb?
Yeah, but that's when I found what I was looking for, but I've been looking for it for a while.
But how did you
Yeah,
accidentally dip into that? Like you didn't just
someone
go
told me.
there.
No, I was looking for it. I was out there doing stuff I don't normally do,
Hmm.
and someone told me about it, you know, walking in circles that I don't didn't frequent, and someone told me about it, and it's ended up there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And see,
I was guided. I was
That's like
seeking,
that
and there were
inherent.
guides. There were guides there to show me the way.
Yeah. So that's part of it, is that inherent curiosity that we talked about earlier. Even though you're grown up, even though you have the rigid, like disciplined brain, you are still allowing yourself to just like wander, right? And actively do that. Like you were looking. I think that's a really difficult thing. It's funny, we were talking earlier today, me and my partner, the idea of being in your 20s and finding a friend group versus being in your 40s or your 50s and finding a friend group. It's a very different prospect. And I think that a lot of that goes back to, as a 40-year-old or a 50-year-old, you don't wander as much. I think that you start to get, it's the old dogs teach old dogs new tricks. You get into
Great.
these grooves, and it's really difficult to say, I'm going to go out there and see what's out there, see what I need.
So that is kind of my response when I hear like the epidemic of mental loneliness. It's hard for people in their 40s. I'm just like, leave your house. Go do something that is fun to you, and then look
Mhm.
around you and see who else is doing that.
Yeah.
Like the world is so big, and there's a lot of things going on. You need to go look for it.
Was the thing that was fun to you music? Is
Get
that what
out of your
you?
comfort zone. Get out of
Yeah.
your comfort zone. It's
Yeah.
hard. It's hard to get out of your comfort zone. It's not There's not a lot of people who would go to a festival they never heard of by themselves. It's actually
Yeah.
unheard of to go to
Yeah.
festivals by. When I tell people I went alone, they're like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah.
It's like a saying in the festival community: "Never forget the person who invited you to your first festival." And I'm like, "Me?"
Me.
Although it wasn't actually me; it was the person who told me about it. But she didn't invite me; she just told me to go there. So little, yeah,
Latham, I
yeah.
think you've just developed a new foundational principle, because you have to find other Lathams and give them that like nudge. It's not, you don't have to be the person who tells them to go to the festival, but you do have to be the person who's like, find the thing, get out of your house. And maybe it's not even getting out of your house. What if it's like, I really love Counter Strike. Counter Strike is my community.
Okay.
I don't. I don't.
Well,
I was just using that as an
You
example.
you do. I will say there's a caveat there. Go do what you love and look around and see who's doing that. Okay,
Mm,
you might need to do something that takes you out of your house.
okay.
Okay, no matter how much you love video games, leave your house. Look, if
Because then you can tie this back into the hug, because you can't get a hug through a video game, but you can if you leave your house.
you come to Camp Free Hugs,
Yeah.
this
So
is
all
my
of this
main
is an
mechanism,
elaborate ad.
just systematically routing people to Shambles.
Yeah, yeah.
This is
This
like the gateway. Oh, if you thought this was fun, there's another one in Canada. Let me send you the guidebook.
is is it a
Yeah.
harder lift because you're on the East Coast? You're trying to get people to go all the
Oh,
way to.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
ridiculous. I actually don't even really try anymore. This is good. This is fun. It's a lot
yeah,
easier for me anyway. I still
what?
plan to go to Shams every year forever, but I don't really expect to find a lot of people here. Although my
Yeah.
girlfriend is coming this year. Shambhala. It's going to be so
Oh,
great this year. We've got Camp Free Hugs is repping, rolling hard. We got like 10 people glamping. My brother's bringing his whole crew from Denver. 40 people. There's a convoy coming in. My
wow.
girlfriend's coming. So I feel like I talk about Shams a lot, but it's kind of the whole point, the genesis of this podcast. So I guess I
Yeah.
shouldn't feel too bad. I left Shambhala in 2022, and my dearest, deepest wish, I wanted to find just one person from my normal life who would come back and experience what I had experienced. Just
Mhm.
one. I'm going back with my own brother, girlfriend, 50 people, 8 very close friends that I met in Seattle along the way. Like, it's more than I ever could have imagined. And it's just the
That's
very beginning.
amazing.
It's just
Yeah,
still just the beginning.
yeah. That's right. That's right. That's
And
that's
it's spread to Virginia.
yeah.
It's spread to like a virus. It's spread to Virginia.
Have you found any outside of your social circles, work, so, like, have you just found random strangers on the street that you have converted to this new way of thinking
On the
by keeping
literally
out
on
at
the
home?
street.
Mhm.
Literally on the street, like walking down the sidewalk?
Yeah.
No,
Then
no, I don't. I don't think
you're
so.
not working hard enough, Latham.
See, this is the. If I may mention your past, your religious past, I mention that? This is the
Yeah,
Mormon coming out. This is like the
listen.
Mormon trauma. If you're not bringing people in to the temple every Sunday, why are we paying for you to be in Russia?
No, the church was not paying. I was paying. That's the other part.
Wait,
You know,
what?
Mormon missionaries
Okay, I
pay
don't
their
want to start
own
talking
way.
about Mormonism. The
Yeah.
more I learn, it's starting to make me think that there might be some problematic issues potentially in these large organized religions. That's kind of the impression I get. I gotta go, dude. Thank you so much. If you have one last thought, give me one last thought. What do you want to communicate to our millions of viewers once we go viral? Or just my precious, loyal viewers?
Um,
Probably, yeah. Every person, my girlfriend was telling me this. She was like, every single person who watches your podcast, that's an entire human being. And you have no idea what the ripple effects are going to be from that person. Okay.
yeah.
Give me a thought.
Um, I think when I say to myself, "Do what makes you happy," it's not a thing that I tell myself once or twice. It's a thing that I'm telling myself constantly. And so I think what you should be trying to do is find the things that bring you joy in life, and always find new and exciting and wonderful things in life, um, because you want to get the joy out of life and you want to give the joy in life to others. So that I think kind of lifts us all up.
I would have expected nothing less from you, Ray. You've lifted me up. I think you've lifted our viewers up. Thank you so
Uh,
much. I hope to talk to you soon.
yeah.
If you want to stay on after the recording, we can chat for a little bit. But for
Okay.
now, good night, campers, and I'll see you around the universe.